future.
First and foremost, in Uganda, in regards to the East African region, Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, of course, having huge cases day per day being announced. Do you have some reasons why we must open up at this point as Uganda?
If you want to ask for reasons, yes, we have reasons why we should open up. But then at the end of the day, we can always revive the economy. The economy, in other words, has spare parts, but life has no what? Has no spare parts. To me, I think it is premature. Opening up would make people happy, but happiness is not everything. You would rather be home bored but healthy than opening up and risking loss of life. I will give you an example. In 1720, there was a pandemic in Marseille. Marseille is in France, where the ship docked from the Asian countries. It had touched so many Asian countries, and it tried to dock in Italy to offload some goods, and it was refused by the Italians, and it proceeded to France, where the mayor of France actually, I think, was the owner of the ship. So this ship was infected, and they are allowed to quarantine the people somewhere and offload the goods. Marseille had a population of 90,000 inhabitants, people at that time. And I can tell you that more than half, 50,000 people out of 90,000 people died just because of that one decision, trying to revive the economy, because the ship had docked with a lot of goods. Even if those goods had gone to waste, what if you just compare the cost of those goods and the cost of 50,000 lives? So at one point they actually tried to build a wall, the wall between Marseille and other French territories, but they failed. Already 10,000 people who had money had already sneaked and escaped. So that pandemic, called the bubonic pandemic, killed over 100,000 people because of just one single decision. Now here we are lucky because we are a landlocked country. That's why most of the cases we are getting are of truckers who are entering the country. But then these truckers are making contacts with the people. These truckers have now brought the disease actually to the community. A police officer in Masindi was found to be COVID-19 positive. Now this police officer is always in contact with other officers. He's always in contact with his family, with the community, with the people on the roads. We wouldn't be surprised tomorrow if they found another case of someone who was stopped by him, flagged by him, having COVID-19. So we need instead to tighten a bit. But then this is a phase for us to understand and innovate. We need to go back to the drawing board. I will ask you a question. Why should someone working in the customer care of MTN call center leave his home every day to go to work in order to receive customer care calls? Can't that person work at home? This is a time. Only go to work when you have to. At the end of the day, it is about productivity. We can actually improve productivity without going to these offices. Someone who is, for example, writing a research proposal, there is a lot of information on the internet. You don't have to come to Makerere University every day. You can actually do your research at home. All of the information you want can be found on the internet. Now we need to innovate and make sure that this information is actually available on the what? On the internet. Only come to Makerere when you want to present your research proposal to the lecturer. Only come to Makerere when you want to pick a booklet or when you want to pick some specific material which needs you to be physically present. Otherwise, with the technology, even with the Zoom now, you can hold a meeting of even 20 people. So the lockdown needs to stay for a little bit longer until we are sure we are safe. The issue of trucks, what will happen in the event that we closed our border for 1 month, can't we feed ourselves in this country? Because if the cars are few on the road, it means we don't even need a lot of what? Fuel. Meaning the fuel which is already in the country is enough. Maybe we can even think of closing out these trucks. If we can close our borders completely for just a week, let us see the impact. But as we have discussion, as all this continues, the beauty is the scientists are working, and I'm very hopeful. Very soon, maybe before the year ends, we shall have a cure, or at least some treatment which will help sort this pandemic out. It is not going to be here forever. That one is a definite. But the question is, am I safe? Are you safe? Are we practicing social distancing? Our culture is the worst. Actually, the only beauty with the lockdown is people locked up, say, in Makerere will not cross over to Mukono. Meaning, if there was an infection in Makerere, it is very easy to contain that area. But the truth is, people are out there walking. People are walking as if there is nothing. Yet, if this virus spread, say, in a supermarket, people, our shopping habits are bad. Like I told you that if you are going to buy even avocado in a supermarket, you touch it and press to see whether it is what? It is actually ripe. You touch the yellow bananas to actually see if they are ripe, even when they have changed the color. That's what people do. People will even go around touching drinks. If you want to get, for example, water in a fridge, people will always remove the front water and pick the one at the what? At the extreme end of the fridge, thinking that it is the what? It is the coldest. So in the process, you are living, if someone is infected, you are actually living the virus on all these things. So that's why we seriously need to take social distancing seriously. And to me, it is a bit too early to ease the lockdown. We should instead tighten a bit more, maybe for 2 more weeks. Within those 2 weeks, we might have learned a lot.
The measures we must follow in regards to easing the lockdown, should we copy some, or should we copy and leaf from other countries which have done so, opening up the economy in different phases, or we must follow other measures?
Of course, it is going to be a phased easing of the lockdown. You cannot just say, people, you are now free. You are going to have issues. You are going to have issues of even stampedes and what have you. In certain places, you have everyone wanting to sell, and in the end, you may even have no buyers. So it has to be a phased system. For example, we need to address the issue of taxis in this country. Taxis have made transport in this country very, very difficult. Our transport connectivity in this country is not the best. So we need to phase out some of the taxis. KCCA had talked of introducing Tondeka buses. This could be a good time to actually what? Introduce the buses. And this could be a good time to work on the bus lanes or the bus parking bays. Or else, if they come, they will instead cause more what? More traffic gridlocks. So there is actually a lot to do. You can't just open once. But then we need to innovate, like I said. Not everyone needs to go to any office in order to be productive. You can actually sometimes be more productive when you're at home. Imagine you wake up at 6 and by 10 you are seated opposite to your boss, but you feel like dozing. If you're at home, you can go to your bed and sleep for 30 minutes and wake up and work when you are fresh. If you are in office, it will be difficult. You will keep dozing and you will end up being very unproductive the whole day. So we need to innovate. We need to do most of the work at home. We don't actually have to go to these offices every now and then. The most important thing is output.
Very good. Discussing the opportunities so far as Safari Share, have you picked any opportunities in regards to the pandemic?
We have picked opportunities, yes. Opportunity number 1 is people prefer actually to use Safari Share compared to struggling for taxis. I always give you this example. When it is 5 in the evening and you go to the parks, people are always fighting for taxis. There is no need to fight for a taxi anymore. You book your seat by 5, you just get out and you'll be moving with another colleague from point A to point B. 2, the beauty with the Safari Share is connectivity. If you stay on Jinja Road, if you work on Jinja Road and you work in Entebbe, for you to go to Entebbe, you have to move and look for a taxi on Usafu. Yet there are so many people working on Entebbe Road, on Jinja Road, who stay in what? In Entebbe. And yet the fare is almost similar to public transport. So for us, this is an opportunity. Another thing is, in the case of a phased opening up, if they allow the private cars first, what will happen? It means these private cars can actually help transport people who are going to these what? To these offices. But then, why should they transport? It is very easy to regulate them and organize them. It is very easy, for example, to give a hand sanitizer to every Safari Share driver. It is very easy to give masks to every Safari Share what? Driver. Just the way you see Safe Border. It is very easy to give every Safe Border a helmet. It is very easy to give the hairnet. You get it? But it is very difficult for these random borders, because they are not regulated, to have all of these safety what? Safety nets. So it is very beneficial to Safari Share in case the easing of the lockdown started with allowing private cars first, because you can actually give the Safari Share drivers masks, you can give the Safari Share drivers sanitizers, you get it? So that everyone can at least take some precaution. We had already started on integrating luggage like tippers and trucks. A truck has taken merchandise to Hoima and is going to return back empty. So once this truck is registered under our platform, it means it can indicate the time it is returning, so that it can return with more luggage for people at a reasonable cost, not the higher cost of hiring it to just specifically go to where, to go to Hoima. So here is an opportunity. You see, at the moment we are having double cabins distributing food. You look at the cost of distributing that food using a double cabin. How many tons of food can a double cabin carry to distribute to a particular slum? Now, this is where we need to innovate as a country. Safari Share is actually here to address such needs. Should they arise tomorrow, we can actually distribute this food to the communities, because we can actually bring together even 1,000 trucks from different drivers together. We sensitize them and we flag them off to distribute this food.
In regards to the capacity, one might ask a question that do you have the capacity to do that in case, of course, you get the deal? How many drivers do you have so far, and how many vehicles have you registered so far in regards to the capacity?
Before, Safari Share is a new organization, and I can say it is a work in progress. We launched in around November, December last year. And then we were stopped by the pandemic because they stopped the movement of vehicles. But we have close to 300 drivers who are approved on our platform. These are private. Now, that is even without advertising. That is even without officially launching. We have these drivers. We have over 1,000 users, passengers who are not drivers on our platform. Now, when you talk of capacity, if tomorrow we put out an advert and we say we are looking maybe for 1,000 trucks, there are so many trucks parked in different places. All it takes for them is to just do the registration. So we have the capacity. We can have as many as even 10,000 cars registered under Safari Share, and that is where we are going after the lockdown.
Well, to furthermore, of course, discuss or to enlarge this debate, you as an economist, of course, we've seen different views and warnings from the World Health Organization saying that, of course, there is a second phase of the pandemic, as we've seen to other pandemics like influenza and others. The question is, if this happens to be so, is Uganda ready for a second phase?
I should say the leadership offered by the president so far has been exceptional in Africa. And I want to thank him for that. Whether we are ready or not will depend on the outcome of the president's speech. To me, I think we need not to ease the lockdown now, because there is always a second wave. And I don't think we have enough hospital beds in this country if we were to have a serious outbreak of this pandemic. We are already struggling in terms of movement for the sick, people who are sick. So Uganda has 191 government ambulances, of which some of them are not working. So if there was a problem and maybe 200 people have been found to be sick in a certain district, do we have the capacity actually to transport them to these treatment centers? We are not ready for a second outbreak. But I'm happy that so far we have recorded no death, and almost everyone we can say who is admitted, we are certain that the person is going to be out of danger using the previous statistics. And I want to applaud the Ministry of Health and all the stakeholders involved. But when you say, is Uganda ready? Yes, we can say we are ready. But in case, just imagine in the event that we had 2,000 cases, active cases of COVID-19, it would be disaster. So please, wherever you are, keep social distancing, stay home, and stay safe.
Uganda Yancha.